No, it's about the little girl. Her name is Hind. This little girl, for people who are unaware, she was 6 years old. She was stuck in a car for about, I don't know, however many days, with dead bodies of her family all around her, as Israeli tanks kept shelling the car. And they stopped at one point, and she was able to somehow call for help. And there's actually a recording of this little girl stuck in a car with her dead family, with them shooting at her. And yeah. I have so much anger about this, okay? She wasn't found dead. She was massacred. She was murdered. Look at this girl. What, like, I am just... But the way that CNN puts it, now apparently the first time they released this headline, it was even worse because it didn't have that last part about under Israeli fire. They actually added that. But you notice how she was found dead, but if an Israeli person dies, they were murdered or killed. She was found dead. Okay, let me say, as somebody who went to journalism school, unless you smell your neighbor's decomposing body and you go in and find them dead, that's not how most people, that's not how this works, okay? She wasn't found dead. She was murdered in a car with her family. And then when the Red Crescent Society, who is basically like their Red Cross, like they're, you know, people that are at least just trying to help people there, they went to help her, and Israel bombed the car and killed the 2 Red Crescent workers in their car when they were trying to help her. And then after 2 weeks, they finally let somebody go in and retrieve the bodies out of the car. So that's the kind of stuff that I was talking about and reading about and learning about during the Super Bowl. Now, not the little girl, that I knew, but now there's 100 more plus dead people in Rafah over one bombing period. That's why, because I don't give a shit about the Super Bowl.
You got to vote for Joe, Jen.
Because I just don't care about the Super Bowl. I don't care about that. Like, I don't care about the Oscars. Like, I don't care about the fucking Grammys. I don't care about Taylor Swift. I don't care about that shit. I just don't. I care about this girl. And she wasn't found dead. She was murdered. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Yeah. And that's all I can think about is this girl. I'm just going to lose my shit. I just can't.
What if it was your child?
I just can't. She sat in a car with her family dead all around her. And there's also a video clip of her mother that was recently released that when she found out that they were finally able to go and retrieve her body. The things that I have seen, let me tell you, they're unredeemable to me. Like Israel, it is irredeemable. Joe Biden and the entire party, they're dead to me. They're dead to me. There is no coming back from this. There is no coming back from this. I can't even. There is a mother walking around Gaza carrying her dead child because she doesn't want to just leave his body. And by the way, there's probably many of those. That's just one that I saw.
And then you see Senator Fetterman literally with an Israeli flag square up his ass.
Oh, he's dead to me too. I
mean, there is
honestly, this is the only good thing that happens with major issues and things like this is that you really get to see who's who. You get to see who's who. And I don't think, no, there's no coming back from this. For me and the people, and that for me is people in my life, personally, professionally, like all across the board. I have lost friends. I haven't spoken to my family, but I am pretty damn sure they're not going to want to talk to me. But yeah, there's no coming back from this. And people that are, by the way, just now sort of getting onto the right side, too late. You're too freaking late.
And remember, a lot of the people,
irredeemable.
Remember, a lot of the people that are trying to come to terms with what's going on now and try to right the wrongs, if you will, if they think that that's even possible. I mean, what they're doing in Rafah right now, and again, friend of the show, Ronnie Kallick over at Breakthrough News, is basically showing them they're now basically shooting people like it's a shooting gallery.
It's just,
this is not.
And then you have Joe Biden or somebody, whoever let it slip that, oh, well, Biden called Bibi an asshole, like as if they're trying to make Biden seem so tough. You guys are such pussies anyway. It's like, it doesn't matter what he says. I honestly, and the truth is, whether they were or weren't, they're just corporate drones, tools. It doesn't matter.
But this is also why, if you look at the beta, with all due respect, guys, okay? And I'm not the most alpha male alive, but the most beta males are the ones simping for the Democratic Party and Joe Biden. You can't get regular guys.
And psychopaths. There are also just people that are psychopaths, like Brian Mast, like people that are like psychopaths.
Well, that's on the Republican side.
Oh, right. I just mean in general, there are alpha males that are pro-war, but they're just psychopaths.
If you cannot see what's going on right now is a complete genocidal massacre, that is what it is. I don't know how much this is actually going to play a role. I'm only going to really show the headline. We're not really going to get into the article. But this is also from CNN. As you can see, the Saudis are not having this. They do not think that this is acceptable behavior that's going on right now. Saudi Arabia warns Israel of very serious repercussions for storming Rafah. Yeah, they told you to take your serious repercussions and shove it up your ass.
I don't necessarily give any credence or give a shit about Saudi Arabia. It's not like that's exactly
but that's
the pinnacle
my point.
Of human rights.
But that's my point. Like, they don't. Saudi Arabia is. Iran could never touch Saudi Arabia when it comes to human rights abuses.
Oh, God, no. Saudi Arabia is way worse. Saudi Arabia is one of the worst.
But what's the difference between Saudi Arabia and Iran? It's just one parallel. There's only one issue.
Other than the fact that it's two completely different countries, have two completely different systems.
Yeah, one does business with us and the other doesn't.
Oh, you mean why do we like one and not the other? Oh, okay. I thought you were literally asking because I'm like, it is completely different. They're actually, geopolitically, they're just not the same. Okay, but you mean why do we like Saudi Arabia?
2 Israeli hostages were rescued from the southern Gaza city of Rafah in a joint operation between the Israeli defense, because they're really defense forces.
Again, they rescued 2 after they just killed a few. So it's sort of like their average is poor. Like, you guys, you're doing, it's very poor. And by the way, my understanding is that these were 2 Argentinians.
More than 60 people have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on Rafah, according to the Palestine Red Crescent Society. There is a growing chorus of alarm over the operation in Rafah, now home to more than half of Gaza's population, about 1 million people, many already displaced from elsewhere in the enclave. It gets better. Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has brushed off mounting criticism of plans for a Rafah ground offensive, saying calls not to enter the city are telling Israel to lose the war.
It's not a war.
It's not a war. Speaking to ABC, he pledged to provide safe passage for civilians, but offered few details. Yeah, he's going to end up like Mussolini, I think.
Oh, I hope he does. I hope he ends up exactly like Mussolini did.
I don't see how this ends any other way. Like, I really don't. He is the most dangerous
But here's the
leader.
thing, even if you get rid of him, they're still doing what they're doing. The fact is that at this point, Israel is so far to the right that even your middle of the road Israeli is at this point on board with genocide. They've been convinced that it's necessary. The only difference is they want their hostages back. But if they had their hostages back, they wouldn't give a shit what was going on because they wouldn't even know what was going on. But it's just so outrageous that this concept is selling to anyone that what they're doing is in any way to get rid of Hamas. First of all, the heads of Hamas aren't even in there. So I don't know Hamas isn't there. It's not like in one place. I think that we all understand that because we're all, literate. And so we see that, right? Like we understand that Hamas, the leaders of Hamas are in Qatar. Hamas is a huge thing. It's like,
I will say this. I do think that there are a lot of people who are aware of what's going on, but the genocide is very real. And I felt this from the beginning because I have always felt for a very long time that there was an undercurrent within the Jewish community that was never really being reported on. Their bigotry and their resentment of everyone who isn't Jewish. Let me tell you, it's not a conspiracy that there is a portion, particularly of the Zionist Jewish population in the United States, who will only do business with other Zionist Jews. They will shut out everybody else, and they'll do it based on many different levels of judgment, including your name, your background.
Okay, first of all, a lot of insulated communities do that.
There's a difference, though. The Jewish community, particularly the Zionist Jewish community, is of extreme affluence. They control a lot of the money in the world. They control a lot of the politics in the world. This is not just the Rothschilds or George Soros. This is serious levels of control. That's why somebody like Bill Ackman literally thinks he's cock of the walk, and he's not even high on the totem pole. He's actually kind of low, but he really does believe that he has the authority to determine how major educational institutions in this country hire and fire their employees. That's pretty serious shit. And for whatever reason, he thinks he can get away with it. Now, will there be a reckoning for these people? I don't know. But I know that what's happening in Rafah now, this is going to make Gaza look like nothing.
First of all, Rafah is in Gaza.
It is in Gaza. I'm sorry. It's a neighborhood.
It's a city.
It's a city in Gaza.
It's a city in the southern part of Gaza that they have been telling people to go to where they would be safe because
Correct.
they were going to invade in the north. But as we've known from the very beginning, as those of us have said from basically October 8th, that this was nothing but an excuse to totally ethnically cleanse Gaza. So all of those times we're like, oh, just move here, just move there. There's nowhere safe to go. There's nowhere safe to go.
Yeah, wherever they're telling you to go in the opposite
They're literally
direction.
cornering people to go. They've already dropped more explosives on Gaza than Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined. And Gaza is this teeny little place. Like there's the fact that it's just laughable at this point that they're seriously talking about this like it's a war and they're working to get their hostages back.
And we'll conclude our show tonight on this note. For anybody who is here, and we have a number of people who have been on the live tonight, people that are in the chat, which is great. Keep this in mind for any of you that are planning on supporting RFK for president. This is why he deserves the scrutiny that should be coming his way. To not speak up about this is almost as bad as just going along with it. Now, is it as bad as what Biden is doing? No. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't have the ability with his platform to make a significant shift in how this is playing out. He does. Because the first person who is running for president with a chance decides that it's time to call what it is, it's a genocide, and we have to change course.
They can't
That
now.
person could become president of the United States.
Yes, but nobody can do that now. It's too late. It really is. They're too far gone. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.